talk about grades and all this stuff, expectations. So everybody knows what's going on. And look at that main pie chart, see if you can find your numbers. Mastered, learned, and remaining. Rosa, Nick, is there a glare on the screen or on the board? If there is, let me know. Just wave at me, and we can fix that. No problem. Throughout the school year, there might be, depending on movement of the sun. All right, that's the number. That's what I'm looking at. All right, everybody's good? Yep. Stephanie, good? Y'all there? Okay. All right, so every week you've been adding more and more to the learn category. Kaylee, go hit the record button on it.
I did.
Oh, we are? Great. You've been adding more and more to the learn. So your learn may say, if you haven't done anything since last week, your learn probably says 20. Okay? So if things were going to be normal this week, then by this Friday, I would expect it to say 30. However, due to some things, it's going to need to say 30 a little bit before that, okay? Thursday night is going to be the deadline. I need that to be up 10 more topics, okay? So I'm looking for, I want to see 30 by Thursday night. The reason is because Friday we're taking a knowledge check. And so Friday, this number right here, after Friday, this is going to be wiped out. Okay, and it's going to restart because hopefully all of those that you've learned will have passed into the master category. So by Thursday night, I need 10 new topics. Now, if by Thursday night, let's say you have, this says 25, then I'm going to assume that you've learned 5 this week, okay, out of the 10 that I was expecting you to learn, in which case you would get a 50%. Okay? If you learn 9 out of 10, that'd be a 90%, so on. This is like homework grades. This is stuff that you have to do every single week. I want you learning at least 10 new topics. Everybody, no matter where you are on the pie chart, is learning something every week and mastering new material. Okay? I feel like that's fair for everybody. Okay? Now, the way that this quiz is going to work, let's say that as of right now, you have, I don't know, 150 topics. Then that's with your 20 now, and then you get to your 30. So now, whatever, at the end of this, well, let's take that back. Let's say when you took that initial assessment and you, like several weeks ago, you had 120, okay? Whenever you took that initial assessment. Some of you were a little bit before that. Some of you were past that. Some of you were right there. Whatever's fine. When you do this knowledge check, it's going to take these 30 that you've learned, okay, and it's going to put them into questions. Okay, it's going to give you 25 or 30 questions, and if you get those questions right, then those will be added to your master category. If you get them wrong, then they will not be added. Okay, so it's conceivable that this Friday, after you take that knowledge check, if you get everything right, okay, that this number right here will be updated to 150, and then of course this will then reset back to 0 because this mastered here indicates what you have mastered. You say, well, I've already mastered it. I did it like 3 times. Well, no, not technically. Just because you did something 3 times in a row correct doesn't mean you have it mastered. If you can get it right when I give you the problem amongst a bunch of other problems a couple days or a couple weeks after you've learned it, then you've really mastered it. Okay? It's the difference between short-term memory and long-term memory. Mastered means long-term memory. Basically, any one of these 150 topics I could give to you almost any day of the week, and you would do well on it. Okay? So that's what we're shooting for. Now, how am I going to take a grade on this? Because everybody's different. Well, this is what I've decided. I decided that by Friday, I would expect you to have 149 topics. I don't know why I said 150. Mastered. Okay? I would expect you to have, that would correspond to 18%. Some of you are right there. Some of you are past there. Some of you are not quite there. Okay? But if you want 100% on this Friday's quiz, then after that knowledge check, you need to have 149 or higher. Okay? If you do that knowledge check and you get 130, if it shows 130 mastered afterwards, then your grade on that knowledge check would be, which is going to be the equivalent of like a quiz grade, quiz or a test, would be 130 out of 149. If after that quiz or that knowledge check you have 200 topics mastered, well, I'm not going to give you, over 100%, but you get 100. You'd have 100% on that quiz. Okay, and this I think is very reasonable. What I've done is I've just kind of said, okay, where would I expect everyone to be by this point? And throughout the school year, every 3 weeks, so 3.5 weeks, somewhere around there, then we will have another knowledge check, and this number is going to go up. Okay, so if we have it in another 3 weeks, I would expect you to have another 30 topics finished. Okay, and so I may just round it up from 149. I may say it's 150. So 3 weeks from now, I would expect you to have 180, and that would be your new denominator. Okay, so some of you, that might catch up to you pretty quickly, or you're going to have to race to try this week to try to get up to that point. Okay, I'm okay with that. Many of you are above this, and you'll just need to take care of your 10, and then make sure you do well on that knowledge check, and don't forget too much stuff. Okay, looking at where we are, this is, I think, a very, very fair and attainable goal. Okay. As a reminder, on that knowledge check on Friday, you can have unlimited scratch paper, but you do get 1 page, front and back, to put whatever you want on it. Formulas, practice problems that you've worked through, encouraging notes to yourself. All right, like, you got this. Okay, whatever you want. All right, 1 page, front and back of your notes. I don't want to say cheat sheet because I'll say uncheat sheet is what I like to call it. Your uncheat, a formula sheet. There you go. But you can put examples on it too.
You can? Wow.
You can write down whatever you think you need. All right. Question?
Yes.
What's that?
Does it have to be handwritten notes?
The problem I've had with people typing is that they end up copying and pasting, and then they try to put as much stuff on it as they can, and copying and pasting doesn't really get it to cycle through your brain the way if you handwrite it. So I'm going to say no. It's got to be handwritten, and that's my reason why. Good question. Nobody asked that earlier. So we're looking at basically a homework, 10 topics, and then however you end up with this, and you're going to have to finish this in class. So 5th period, you are walking in, opening up your MacBook, getting started on that right away.
Wait, we finish the knowledge check?
You got to finish knowledge check in class. It's only 25 questions. It's stuff that you've already seen. It's stuff you've already seen. It's possible you start doing really well on that. They may even kick you over and start saying, hey, you got this, we're going to do something else that's a little bit harder. But it is going to focus mostly on your recently learned topics, okay? If it starts giving you stuff that you haven't seen before, it's either because you're doing awesome and it's giving you some harder questions, or you've gotten all of them wrong and saying, whoa, we need to scale this back a little bit.
So
Okay?
get them all wrong.
All right. Other follow-up questions? Yes, Jane.
How do we review what we've already learned? So we can stuff like,
Good question. How do you review what you learned? We're gonna have to.
That was what I was gonna ask.
That's a good question.
Nice detail.
We're gonna dig in. I need a volunteer. All right, take over this. 104. National's got it. All right, maximize that green button there. All right, does anybody know how to review topics that you've learned? Yes, John.
Alex by detail. Go to detail.
Go to details.
Bottom
Alex by details. Click on what?
Learn.
Oh, wait, ready?
Learn.
Oh, learn.
On that, and then it shows you all the topics you learned.
Okay.
Oh.
So,
Is it gonna give you a chance to practice it?
no.
It's gonna give you a sample question.
Not even an explanation. That's it.
Okay. Hit the X, let's try it, alright, that's the beginnings of helpful. Somebody else have another way?
Wait, did you, oh.
No.
Never mind.
Go back to your main pie chart.
Oh, it's like just not like a
Let's go continue my path. Let's try that. Let's go continue. I'm kinda shooting in the dark here. Let's look at the filter. Pull that arrow down. Go over here to the filter. Can we
Oh, hey.
view by review?
Oh.
Alright, so this is in learning mode. We went up to, we pulled this little arrow down, little triangle guy down. Everybody watch us here. Hit it, filter, and then instead of
Oh.
ready to learn, we clicked over
Wait,
here.
but
on
that's
review.
this is doing any topic.
Okay, that's fine.
Cause these aren't, this wasn't anything that I had,
This is one
learned.
that you'd already assumed.
I think this is already one that it knew that I knew.
Alright, click on it real quick. Let's click on the list here. I wonder what these. Okay, hit the filter button again. Let's see what. Okay. Click on uncheck the any topic.
It won't.
They won't let you.
I think I have to like, no, it won't.
Okay, click down here. Now this says, this is fine. I'm looking at these that say mastered. Scroll on and see if you can say one that says like learn.
Oh, learn.
Learn, okay, so tags, learn. Okay, go back to the
You're
filter.
gonna.
Okay, tags. Can we add another one that says learned?
Where is it?
Search for topic,
You'll
no.
just have to scroll through and
You
find
just scroll and find the ones that you've learned, okay? That's not as helpful as I would have liked, but
Right.
it does, go down here, does it give us the option to answer?
Yeah, I just check.
It gives, okay, so it does give you a way to practice and look at an explanation.
Alright, that helps.
So, great question, there's the answer as well. Other follow-up questions? They really need to add that little feature, but you know, whatever. Okay.
You know what, that just be too easy.
If you're gone on Friday or any other knowledge check day, then you'll have to come in here probably during a whole entire period, you know, for after school or something of that, the equivalent time frame to be able to make that up. So, if you're thinking about being sick on Friday, yeah.
Me looking at my calendar.
I'm
not
gonna be
gonna be
sick.
sick.
Sorry, I've been playing this for a while. Can't miss it.
Alright. Let's go ahead. What the heck are we gonna learn about today? Alright, new
Triangles.
new topic. Actually, no. We're gonna
Rectangles.
angles. No,
Oh.
just angles.
Just no.
So we're gonna talk about how to convert between degrees as well as minutes and seconds. What the heck are those? And then go back and forth. Okay? If you want to get out a sheet of paper, that's fine. I'm gonna give you a little bit of theory. And I'm gonna draw the world. So this is
I'm gonna draw the world.
Yeah, draw the world here. So degrees, minutes, and seconds. Alright, so there's the North Pole up there. This is side view. This is the top view of the world. Alright, so before I dive into talking about degrees, minutes, and seconds, I have to tell a story because everything is a story. And why we have these things. Alright, so on the Earth, we have a coordinate system with a grid with lines vertically and lines horizontally. A little bit louder, say that.
Longitude, latitude.
Which one's which?
Oh crap, I'm in geography, I need to know this. Longitude, latitude?
No, 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 that's the
Lat-
flat one, latitude, flatitude.
Latitude, latitude.
Latitude.
Nice.
Those are the horizontal lines. The longitude lines
Wow, that's embarrassing. I'm in geography.
are vertical.
I just learned this. Actually, they read.
Let's see. These are my tactile learners. Haley, there you go. There you go, sketch. All right, feel free to pass it around. So here is the Earth. Okay, so you can see those are lines of longitude. We're going to focus in on the lines of longitude right now. Okay, and now imagine if you were to take that and now you're looking at the top view. Okay, so they literally look like straight lines, like this. So looking at it from the top, this line of longitude looks like this. It goes down, comes back around, and like that. Okay? Then there's another one that's like right here that goes down, wraps around, comes back up like that. That would look like that line right there. You draw with the different colors. What do we use lines of latitude and longitude for? Coordinates
To know
to-
where different places are.
Yeah, know where things are, know where you're going. Way back in the day when they started using stuff so they could take their ship from one place to another place, okay? And they wouldn't, go the long way around, or they wouldn't have to, travel all the way along the coast. They could just kind of go out, go down, maybe cut across the ocean, do all kinds of stuff like that. So these longitude lines, that's what we're going to be focusing on. This initial one here that's blue is sort of like a 0 degrees. That's how we measure it. That's like a 0 degrees. Does anybody know where the 0 degree longitude line is? What we call that? We do call it the prime meridian.
I remember.
All right, there it is, prime meridian right here.
Oh.
Goes through Greenwich, England.
That's right.
So, people said, all right, well, there's 0 degrees. This right here probably is 1 degree. It's probably a little bit more, but we'll call it 1 degree. And then if we were to go all the way around, 2 degrees, there's 90 degrees, 180. What if we were to go all the way around in a circle? 360 degrees, okay? I'm going to be focusing on that 1 degree right now, okay? The problem with just by counting by whole number of degrees is that the Earth is a big place. And by the time you get down here, especially around the equator, in fact, even in any of these mid-latitudes, okay, if you say, we need to go to this place, it's somewhere between 0 degree and 1 degree, okay? Well, even if I'm at the equator, I'm like, okay, are you talking here? Or are you talking here? Or are you talking here? Now, that looks like they're all kind of really close together, but in reality, there are several miles between those dots, okay? Between where the 0 degree line of longitude comes down and the 1 degree. Right? It seems like it's really small. 1 degree doesn't seem really big, but by the time it goes all the way down here to the fat part of the Earth, okay, that's very significant. And if you're trying to sell your ship and you have the one port that you're trying to get to that's really good and nice and safe, and the other one, the pirate port over there, you don't want to go to the pirate port, you want to go to the good, you want to go to the safe harbor. Or maybe more realistically, maybe there's some known shallows, okay? There's some islands that are really rocky. Or worst case scenario, you're trying to get to an island and it's exactly sitting there on the 1 degree, okay? But you miss it and it's kind of foggy or stormy outside because you don't have any way of measuring between 0 and 1. You see what I'm saying? Like it's 0 or 1, which one is it? You're kind of in between. So they needed to be a little bit more precise. Now, if you needed to be a little bit more precise of getting a number between 0 and 1, what would you do? Yeah, you decimals. That would make sense. Eventually they did that. But they didn't choose to do that way. They said, I got an idea, rather than breaking it up, like into tenths and hundredths and stuff like that, let's break it up into 60 parts.
What?
So,
That's me thinking.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Oh my
6,
gosh.
7, 8, 9, 10. I'm not gonna do all of them, they'll be here forever. Okay? So, each one of those little parts is called a minute.
Oh shoot.
So 1 minute, or
Oh
one,
shoot, like there's 60 seconds in a minute. Oh.
so
Math full circle.
1
Whoa.
degree is equal to 60 minutes. Or,
Oh, an
right,
hour.
like the degree is like an hour, and the minutes are like the minutes. So each one of those minute lines, okay, would give you a little bit more precision here between the 0 degree and the 1 degree. And there would be 60 of them, but I'm not gonna draw 60 of them right now. But that wasn't good enough. We needed to be even more precise.
Break each of those down into 60.
That's exactly what they did.
Oh,
So there's
Oh,
gonna be
wait,
60
so
That's
That's actually what happened.
So there's gonna be 60 seconds. So there's gonna be 1 second.
Are we gonna get into like?
That's it, that's as far as we're going.
Okay.
So 1
They
minute,
divided the seconds into seconds and called them milliseconds.
so 60 seconds, or we would say 60, double quote, double prime, right there, not sec. Alright, math wizards. So how many seconds there would there be in 1 degree?
How many?
How many seconds? If there's 1 degree has 60 minutes, and each one of those minutes has 60. What's that?
360.
Close, but also
3,600.
wrong. Say it again?
3,600.
Yes, I heard you too, John. Good job. So 1 degree, you're off by 0. All right. So 1 degree is 60, and then times 60 again. So 3,600 seconds.
Whoa.
This is so much. Like I understand what's happening, but it's also so much.
Well, that's good because we're almost finished with the theory part here.
Oh.
So, this is how they might write a degree, an angle, okay? Or maybe a position. In, if you ever watch some of those old time, you know, like the sailor movies that are like 58 degrees, 22 minutes, 3 seconds, you know?
Mhm.
Fire! And so they would use that also for the cannon. They'd also aim them in different angles. But I'm not good for cannons. So here we go. 4 degrees, 48 minutes, 50 seconds. I'm going to draw a very large version of this, okay? It's not, so that angle would look like, let's just pretend that this is 4 degrees. That's really like 50 degrees, but just pretend. Then on top of that, there is 48 minutes, which is, like I said, less than 1 whole degree. And then, just barely on top of that, there's 50 seconds. It's really hard to read. I'll write it a little bit larger. 50 seconds. So you could say that this whole angle right here is 4 degrees, 48 minutes, 50 seconds. What we're going to be doing here in a moment is converting that number in 3 parts to just 4.814 degrees.
Whoa.
So I'm going to show you how to convert from there to there. And then I'll show you how to convert from there back.
Oh.
Whoa.
Because every time in math we've got to go forwards and backwards. It's kind of the way it is. In fact, you probably can do one of them in your head right now. Let's see, how good are you? What if I said 20 degrees, 30 minutes? 20 point, would it be 03? This is 30 minutes, Out of how many minutes are possible right here?
60.
Out of 60.
0.5.
So 0.5. Think about that for a second. 20 degrees, 30 minutes would correspond to 20.5 degrees.
Oh, no.
So it's, the degree is the whole number.
The
Because
degree,
we're
yeah, because
in
it's degrees.
degrees.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
This is the fractional
That's-
part. This is
that's the
less than a
decimal part.
degree. Yeah,
Okay.
this is the decimal part. But it's not 0.3
Yeah.
because it's not a third. It's
Mhm.
actually
It's
half.
Okay.
All right. Let's try another one. Just all right. 42 degrees. 15 minutes. 42. 15 out of 60. You guys should know this on a regular basis.
Four.
So it's 1/4. So it's a quarter.
Oh.
Yeah.
Duh.
42.25.
I was saying 0.4 because I knew it was a 4.
I'm just doing this so y'all get a general idea about how that would work. Okay.
I don't know how to even start.
We'll do the mathematics, but I just wanted to see what y'all
I
thought about
worked
that.
it out all in my head. I don't know how to put that
Well,
on.
All right. So let's go and look through this one. I would encourage you're going to see some patterns here really quickly. Even though you see the patterns, just go and write this one all the way out in all of its fullness, and then you can do all your shortcuts and stuff like that. Trust me, I'm a teacher. So, number one says convert 19 degrees, 47 minutes, 57 seconds to a decimal number of degrees. Do not round any intermediate computations, and round your inches to the nearest thousand. So we're going to make it look something like this. Thousands, by the way, tens, hundreds, thousands, 3 digits after the decimal. So we already know that, let's see, we've got 19, we'll write it spread out a little bit. This is 19 degrees plus 47 minutes plus 57 seconds. It's sort of like an expanded out version, very similar to what's going on like this. The way that we're going to do this is really basic. We're going to first convert these minutes into degrees, and then we're going to convert those seconds into degrees, and then we're just going to add them all up. The 19 is already in degrees.
So for the minutes, would we do 47 over 60?
Well, possibly, but I always get mixed up when I do conversions. Sometimes I don't know if I should multiply or divide. I don't know if any of y'all can relate to that. This is an honors class, so probably not. But some people do. I'm going to show you a surefire way of how to convert things, okay? If you're ever curious, should I multiply or divide, or how does all that stuff work out? So here we go. The ancient art of conversion works like this. It'll help you out in your physics class. Or in here. First off, always start off with what you know. In this case, I know 47 minutes. I'm going to take that, I'm going to multiply that times some magic scale factor. So I'll put a times and then a fraction bar, and then I'll write the equals, and then over here I'm going to write the units that I want. In this case, I want this to be in degrees. Then I fill in my scale factor so that the denominator here will cancel out the numerator right here. So I want to cancel out those minutes, so I'm going to put minutes right down there. I want my final answer to be in degrees, so I shall put degrees right there. And then I look over here at my equations and my conversion factors to figure out what goes where. In this case, 1 degree is 60 minutes. Now, just a review. I'm multiplying this by another number. Am I actually changing the value even though I'm multiplying it? Am I changing the value at all? No, I'm not. Why not? You're multiplying it. Surely multiplying changes it. Does multiplying change the number every single time?
No.
There's only one situation. If you multiply it by 1, you're not really changing the value. You're changing what it looks like, but not the value. Okay? Put lipstick on the pig. Now, is this 1? 1 degree over 60 minutes?
Yeah.
It is 1 because
Cause 67.
those are the same thing. Remember the other property of mathematics, anytime you have the same thing over itself, it's 1. 5 over 5 is 1. 100 over 100 is 1. 1 degree over 60 minutes is 1. So everything's legit. I'll take the 47 times the 1 divided by 60, or just do 47 divided by 60. Those degrees will cancel, cancel. What is 47 over 60? Give me 4 digits after the decimal.
47,833. Cause then the 3 is right.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Since my final answer is gonna be rounded to 3 digits, I'm putting 4 digits here on my step. Yes.
I'm gonna interrupt you.
That's fine, go ahead,
for
go
a
ahead.
second.
No problem.
Did you get a confirmation on Jessie Koenig for tomorrow?
I have not
Have you
looked.
spoke with her?
I have not spoken
Did
with
you put her name in?
She's preferred sub, but that doesn't, she must have done it herself.
Would you just check to see if it's a confirmation? You don't have to do it right now.
That's fine.
That there's a confirmation come through.
Okay.
Thank you.
Alright, there we go. 0.7833. 3. Alright, we've done that part. Next, we're going to convert the 57 seconds to degrees. So 57 seconds, by the ancient art of conversion, I want this to be in degrees. I want to cancel out those seconds, so I'll put them in the denominator. I want my final answer to be in degrees, so I'll put that in the numerator. Then I'll go look over here at my conversion factors. 1 degree is 3,600 seconds. So the seconds will cancel. What's 57 divided by 3,600?
0.01. Oh, well.
Hold on, 0.058.
Oh, I did.
58. Do we have agreement from the audience? Okay. So 0.0158 degrees. Alright? And then you just add all 3 of those up. 19 plus 0.7833 plus 0.0158. Now, do you all know how to use the up arrow on the calculator to get previous values? Alright, so do this for me. If you have those numbers showing up in all of their full decimal detail, okay, I'm gonna walk around, just do 19 plus, and then hit the up arrow button until you see this crazy number, and you have that one selected, and then hit enter.
Mine will go.
Alright,
Mine will go.
won't go up? Alright, I'll come look at it. Then hit the plus, and hit the up arrow until you get to this guy, and then hit enter, and then enter again, alright? So we'll look around and see if you can utilize that feature. Can you do that? Yeah, yeah. What's up? Does it work? Plus, hit the up arrow. Keep going.
Oh, wait,
Hit the up arrow.
Yeah.
Yours is not doing it. So
Mine
strange.
was
Yours doesn't either?
You're just, wait, does yours not do? Okay, never mind.
Grab one of those.
The
You try that.
Yeah. The second.
Yeah, but it's still. Grab one of the blue calculators. Does it work with these? Yours does? Yeah, if you run it, but that's strange. This one I wanted this one needs an update. Ladies, were you able to hit the up arrow?
Yeah.
Okay. Gentlemen?
I think it works on this one.
It'll work on the blue ones, no problem. The 84 pluses. Is it working? Hit the up arrow.
Great.
Okay, so you got it work. Okay, great. That's a good way. There are other ways of doing that. Okay, so final answer, 19.799.
799, wait. Yeah, 799.
What's the next digit after the 9?
1.
1, okay? So they want to run to the nearest 1,000. So that means I'm either going to keep the 9 or bump it up. Over here I have a 1, so I'm going to keep it. That's not very visible at all. So 19.799 degrees. Final answer right there. Alright?
Oh.
I want you to pick either 2 or 3 and work together as a table, see if you can calculate that. Answers on the back of your sheet there. See if you can do that same process again on number 2 and number 3. If you get number 2 or number 3 finished, give me a thumbs up. I'm walking around here. Can you check on the back? Okay. Does that match? Perfect. Great. Yeah, how do you do? Okay, great. Lady, we good? Yes, just on one of them, as long as you got one of them. Yep. Mason, you good? Stephanie? Alright. Now for the next thing. Let's look at 4, 5, and 6. This is going back the other way. So we're going to convert 23.252 degrees into degrees, minutes, and seconds. Okay? So 233.252. Well, one part's real easy. That 233 degrees, that's the whole number part. So that's already locked in. So now I just need to split this part up, the 200 or the 0.252 degrees. I need to convert that into minutes and seconds. Okay? So here's the process. First, just write 0.252, and I'm going to convert that, 0.252 degrees, straight into minutes. So multiply by degrees in the denominator, minutes in the numerator, because I want it in minutes. So that's 1 degree is 60 minutes. So what is 0.252 times 60? All give me at least 3 or 4 digits. 15.12. Do I have agreement?
Yeah.
All right. So it's 15 minutes. That's the whole number of minutes, right?
Oh, so you take the 15?
So I've got 15, and I'm putting it right there. Then I'm going to convert that 0.12 into seconds. So it's 0.12 minutes multiplied by that, minutes and seconds, in order to get the number of seconds. So that's 1 minute is 60 seconds. So 0.12 times 60, 7.2 seconds. According to the instructions, they say if necessary, round your answer to the nearest second. So instead of 7.2, I'll just say 7. So you might be able to notice some patterns about what's going on here. It's almost mechanical. Seems like you can almost write a computer program to do this. Speaking of which, UIL Computer Science meeting today. Lunch B. Tell your friends. All right, that's final answer for number 4. Go ahead and do number 5 and number 6 as a table. Check your work. You can do one or both, just to make sure you know what's going on. You guys already done this on the contract? Oh, this was perfect. Good. What are most of your topics? The algebra section. Lines, graphs, whatever. Maybe the rest of the tree. Okay. This one should pop up soon. That's already shown up. Looks like you did a knowledge check. So you would have to mess with those. So. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, you want Thursday, yeah, okay. Like, you want 11 o'clock on Thursday? Yes. There's nothing official. You can remind me on Facebook.
Yeah.
Here's some good numbers here. They match? Alright, good job. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe.